The metaverse is the big talk of the town, whether you're in stocks or in crypto. What are you going to do about it? Hey, this is CEO Trades, where money works for you. Today, we're looking at the second part of decisions. Decisions in reference to the metaverse, in reference to investing in stocks or crypto. What is happening? Yesterday, we looked in part one of decisions. We looked at how Meta, the electronic transfer fund, ETF, has been immensely impacted because of its purchase by Microsoft. Today, we're going to look at further information into that and how it is affecting you and me. How can I invest in this? There are decisions that need to be made. There are certain circumstances that need to happen, and you should be aware of this, right? As we get ready to look at this, I just want to let you know, just look at the chart, but I'm just going to read on an article here that I have been following for the last 24 hours, and I'm finding out more and more information in reference to this. Number one is a lot of the gaming industry is starting to consolidate. What does that mean? Prices are going to go up for games. Prices are going to go up. The more consolidation there is, the less of competition there is between the other industries that are competing for these games. So which companies are those? Microsoft owns Xbox, and it also has primarily the Game Pass subscription service. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good for those who are gamers. And as far as in their investments, they also, let's see here, Activision Blizzard's reputation. Okay, so Call of Duty is going to become a part of Microsoft in this acquisition from Activision, and their stock that they're getting ready to release into the world. What's going to happen to that stock? I would say be very careful in reference to investing there. But before we go on and talk more about that, let's see what else is happening here. Let's see, consolidated game industry, where the power sits only with Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Those are the three top competitors now. Why? Microsoft hasn't been shy about its ambitions for its Xbox consoles, and these days its content, rather than wowing with new tech. The Xbox Series S, for instance, is more or less an entry-level console geared for Game Pass. Double Fine presents, and Bethesda has shown that Microsoft is serious when it comes to flooding Game Pass. I'm not sure what that information is in reference to gaming, but this is how I take this. I know that there are two or three companies, which are, I just mentioned them, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, and they're getting ready to purchase a lot of these gaming industry. Facebook is one of those big companies that's going to be investing in there, and I'm certain that big conglomerates are also going to invest in there. How do I know this? Because if you look around, everything's being bought by very few companies. Supposedly, you can't hog up a specific industry or some type of max, what is it, conglomeration, consolidation of all the companies that are around, but there are ways around it. How do you find it? I don't know. I'm that deep in reference to legalities, in reference to investing. But the reality is that this is going to affect us all, either in a good or in a bad way. How do I know? Well, if we look at this chart, number one, you can see there's a huge sell-off of the Meta ETF right here from back in November when it was at 1711. It's just dropped. Obviously, if people are selling, it's because people are aware of what's going on before everybody else is. Now, I haven't looked at all the news for the last 3 months, but I can tell you, is this a time to buy this? No, it's not a time to buy. I would not touch this stock because there's a chance that it's going to drop even further. What's going to happen if it drops even further? Maybe when it's acquired by a bigger company such as Facebook, there's a huge possibility it will be acquired by Facebook or some other big corporation. And once it's acquired, there's going to be a reverse split and you'll lose money. Guess who makes money? The company does. Why? Because for every share, now they'll make a reverse split. And let's say right now it's at $13, but they might make a reverse split so that now it's at $26. And guess what? You'll lose money on that. It's easier that I'm explaining than what they're going to make out of it. But believe it or not, the companies will make money. Don't invest in this yet. Wait for the merger, wait for whatever happens, the transition. Keep watching this because this is very important. It's going to go up in the long run, but right now I wouldn't touch it. I mean, it's on a downtrend. It's on a serious downtrend for the last 3 months. And you can see in the last day or two, it's also on the downtrend right in here in the last 4 or 5 days. I would not touch this. Decisions are very important to be made at the right time. And most people who come into the markets don't understand what this is. But another thing that's being affected are the investments in crypto. And let me see if I can pull some of those up for you so that I can show you what I am referring to here. Give me a second as I'm attempting to bring these up. And that way I can show you at least 2 or 3 of the cryptos that are being affected. Obviously, there are more than 2 or 3, but the 2 or 3 that I'm bringing up in here are the ones that I've been watching for a while. And look at that. Sand right here. You can see it's also on a downtrend since November. It's on a complete downtrend. Alice is also on a downtrend. Right here, you can see since pretty much November as well on a downtrend. And AXS is, I believe, is on a downtrend because I think I saw this in at 100 or so. And yeah, 160 since November, and it's down to 71. That's amazing. And I believe Mana is also another metaverse play, and this one is down from 582 back in November to 270. Is this the time to purchase these? I would say it's a little bit safer of an investment going into the crypto meta investments. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is what I would do. Now, in reference to the stock market, I would wait and find out more news. There's no rush to get into any of these because they're all on a downtrend. You don't know where the bottom is going to be, and you don't know how much further down they're going to go. But the reality is that Meta is going to be a hot ticket item for the next decade, at least the next decade. That's the gaming industry is going to be around for a long time to come. It's been around for many, many years since it started, and it's starting to pick up. We're all going to experience the metaverse in one way or another, whether you're thinking about purchasing into property, having more meetings through Zoom instead of having to fly out to other places because people want to save money. And a lot of the apps that are going to be coming out there that are going to be competing against Zoom as well. That's also an app that has been going up, and I can take a look at that and see what the price is on in stock. So give me a second as I bring it up here, and I will show you that is also on the horizon here. And let's see here. Give me a second as I share my screen so that you can see what I'm referring to. Now, this is Zoom. You can see that when it was back in February of last year, 2021, it was at 451, and that was its high, and it's been on a downtrend. It's dropped 60% from its highs. Oh, it's dropping because more and more competition is coming in for Zoom. I don't know what else is being reported here. I haven't done my due diligence in reference to research. That's why decisions need to be made, and you need to be calm about making these decisions, making certain that the decisions are for your better judgment. Right now, these are tricky stocks. Tech stocks do determine a good chunk of what happens in the stock market. And if you look around in reference to other articles, no matter where you go, whether it's the Times, any of the Times, LA Times, New York Times, or Forbes or Fortune, or Investing Magazine or something like that, you're going to find that there is high volatility. There's a lot of speculation that the interest rate's going to go up, and people are asking, don't let it go up. Don't let it go up, because they're afraid of another stock market crash. If it crashes, am I ready to jump in? Yes and no. These are decisions that need to be made. Are you ready to jump in? Meaning, do you have a chunk of money that you are ready to invest if the stock market crashes? What is a crash? As I referred to yesterday, a drop from 20 to 30%. Now you can see there's been a steady decline for several months. And on some stocks, there's been a steady decline for almost a year. That's right. Since back in March or April, I believe there's been a steady decline, just like this one, Zoom, since February of 2021. 21, and it's almost been a year since it's been dropping. That's 60% drop. There's a huge market correction. Is this the market correction? I don't know, but 60% drop is immense drop for an app like Zoom, which has been heavily used. And if we were to look at some of the reasons, I mean, we could find out down here, but the reality is when you're making these decisions on investing, be aware. If you're trying to catch any of these stocks on the way down, you've got to be very careful because the overall market will affect. What do I mean by the overall market? Well, if you look at DIA, which is one of the Dow Jones Spider, and this one, it impacts the rest of the market. You can see that back in January of 2021, a year ago, it was at 298 and it's up to 369. That shows good. But I also use QQQ. I look at it just to see how it's impacting. And this one moves very similar as well. And what's the third one? I just forgot what the third one is. DIA, SPY, sorry, SPY. There it is. Now, these are the three that I look to see if they're moving on a similar path, and they are, meaning that the overall health of the market, it looks to be pretty healthy, but you can see it's reached its top and it's starting to drop. If this drops any further, we're in trouble. And that's why a lot of governments around the world are asking the Treasury that to not increase taxes because they're afraid of a drop, and that can happen. That's why decisions are very, very important when you're considering investing. Is this the right time to invest in tech stocks? It's best to watch right now. Maybe there's another industry that you want to look at. Let's say land, and this is just one, Gladwell Land, which I like. Yeah, Gladstone Land. Sorry, not Gladwell. Gladstone Land. Look at that. It reached 35 high, and now it's at 31. I've been watching this since it was around 17, as I've alerted in some of my other videos, somewhere in here, and I invested some and I made some money into the 20-ish range. And look at that. It's at 35. I didn't expect it to go that, but land, you can't produce anymore. So what's happening now? It's virtually purchased. There are different cryptos out there selling virtual land, and it's going up as well. People have become millionaires on virtual land investments. Decisions that you need to consider on investing. Now, this is the thing. Making a decision is fabulous. Maybe you could be wrong, but can you imagine if you're right? If you're right, you succeed. If you're wrong, there's a learning curve. I've been wrong before. So the decisions need to be made. Don't be afraid of making decisions. You can hear some of those people who've made it successful, that when they made their decision to invest their money, to ask for a loan, to invest in their companies, that those who invested more have successfully produced more. Now, there is a chance that you could fail. Yes, there is a chance. However, that's part of the process. That's part of the process of the decision-making process in order for you to become successful someday. So don't be afraid to invest. Don't be afraid to make a judgment, but also make an educated investment in some of these coins and stocks. So this is CeoTrades, where money works for you. If you want to double your bank account, why don't you invest in your knowledge account so that your money account will grow multiplied? Stay safe. And until tomorrow, we'll look at part 3 of decision making and where we're headed with some of the other coins that we'll be looking at in reference to the metaverse. Take care. And until tomorrow, this is CeoTrades.